Interested in investigation and security? Whether you are already a professional or you are in the beginning stages, take all of your classes at the National Investigative Training Academy. Choose from over 200 courses, all written and taught by experts in the field. The National Investigative Training Academy, or NITA, has offered high-level investigative and security training for over 12 years. Like live classes, NITA has those too. Sign up today for private investigation and security courses and use brand ambassador code B as in boy, A as in Adam, 2367. Take a look at investigativeacademy.com. You'll find the link in our show notes. Hello and welcome to Crossing the Tape. Woo! Your favorite true crime podcast.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Hillary, and I'm joined by
Brendan, her husband.
Yes. And thank you for being here. We are still in our Lady of the Dunes series. So we are close to the conclusion.
Racing towards the conclusion.
Right. This particular episode's pretty interesting. There's some interesting facts in there. So we hope you enjoy. Please sign the crime scene log on your way in and join us for more leads with Ruth Marie Terry.
So we welcome you back and we welcome a recap as well.
Yes.
Ruth Marie Terry went missing in the mid-1970s. Around that time, the body of a female was found in Provincetown, Massachusetts. At this point, all police had was a few pieces of evidence that included clothing and a few leads to follow up on regarding suspects. However, at this time, they still didn't know who the victim was, and Ruth Marie Terry's family still didn't know what had happened to their loved one. A very interesting possibility as far as suspects go came from a lead from none other than author Stephen King's son, Joe Hill. In 2015, Hill was watching the movie Jaws when he noticed a woman in the background of one of the scenes that was wearing similar clothing to that of the unnamed woman found in the dunes of Provincetown. Since part of the movie Jaws was filmed on Martha's Vineyard, an area near Provincetown, Hill brought this information to the attention of law enforcement.
Right.
And while investigators did make notes about this, there was never any proof that the woman in the movie was her.
Right. And I think his thinking was, well, if that's her, the suspect might have been part of the, around or who knows,
Her name's got to be on a cast list somewhere as an extra.
And maybe the suspect was close by. I think that was the other thought with that.
The suspect was not the shark.
No.
Another dead end.
Right.
With still no definitive answer to whom the woman was, law enforcement decided to turn to newer DNA technology for potential answers. The company Othram has been one of the leading private labs in the country when it comes to helping in solving cold cases and finding identities of decedents that have gone unidentified for years.
Right. And Othram, I had the privilege of working with them for a little bit. But they have cutting-edge technology for forensic genealogy, and many cases have been provided answers for law enforcement and families alike through their specific technology.
Yes, absolutely. Cutting-edge, futuristic.
Right. Very successful.
Full sci-fi stuff. It's incredible what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Now, in 2022, the skeletal remains of the unknown victim from the dunes in Provincetown were sent to Othram. And through advanced DNA profiling, scientists were able to find distant relatives related to the decedent. So technology's finally caught up to the evidence.
Right.
And eventually the FBI announced that the identified Lady of the Dunes was indeed Ruth Marie Terry. And again, that wasn't until 2022.
And she went missing in the 1970s, mid-1970s. So, that family had to be patient for all that time. But thankfully, with technology like that, from Othram,
finally
they were able to get an answer.
Now, before we give you any more answers, please enjoy this word from our friends at Tection USA.
Taction USA is your go-to source for crime scene and evidence collection supplies. Taction USA offers quality products all designed and tested by active duty first responders and investigators. With no minimum order, you can order as much or as little as you need. Ordering is fast with no hassle attached. Check out TactionUSA.com today and find the quality and quantity you need when it comes to crime scene and evidence collection supplies. That's TactionUSA.com, or look for the link in our show notes and Facebook posts.
Law enforcement, as well as Ruth's family, finally had some answers. However, though they finally knew what happened to their loved one, they still didn't know who was responsible for her tragic death. Once Ruth had been identified, police began to look into her husband, who was now deceased as well. Law enforcement made a formal announcement that they were looking for information on the man. Guy Moldavin, who we mentioned, I believe, in episode 1.
Right.
He passed away in 2002, but he was still certainly a person of interest in the death of Ruth Marie Terry. Moldavin had an interesting past, including being disqualified from active service in the military during World War II, and the reason he was disqualified was due to health issues. From there, he became a professor, and he had previously attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Which is an interesting background. Military and...
Yeah, the military doesn't want me. I'll go to the arts.
Theater. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Yes. In 1946, he married Joellen Loop. While they were married, they lived in New York, California, and then Seattle, Washington. They were divorced 10 years after they married. In 1958, Moldavin married again, this time to a young lady known as Manzi. She already had one child. 2 years after they married, Manzi and her daughter Dolores vanished. The prime suspect was, of course, Moldavin.
Right.
He fled to evade potential charges, as it was presumed they were both deceased. He then went on to marry Evelyn Emerson the same year that his previous wife and stepdaughter went missing.
Which I was like,
Boy,
really? So
quick.
your stepdaughter and your wife go missing in the same year.
Shoot.
You know.
Well,
Anyway, moving on. I thought that was interesting as well.
Yes, maybe a little cold.
Yeah.
During this marriage, he had faced larceny charges for defrauding Emerson's family out of $10,000. Moldavin was convicted, and he was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
That's pretty substantial.
Yes.
I mean,
as was 10 grand back then.
Well, yes, and I didn't do the math this time, but that's still a substantial amount of time for a fraud.
15 years, but his sentence was suspended on the agreement that he repaid the money he stole. So it sounds like he skated there too.
Yeah.
Moldavin continued to be under police scrutiny when human body parts were found in his septic tank. However, law enforcement were unable to connect those remains with the missing women. It was in 1974 that he married Ruth in Nevada. So this guy's got a lot of weird stuff going on.
Right. I mean, I don't think it specified what it was. It might have been a hand. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But,
in the septic tank.
Yeah. Like, well, there's a hand in my septic tank, and I mean, everything that follows this guy is odd. So it makes you wonder, is he a culprit? Because just there's really oddities that seem to follow him.
Right. But it's also strange that, it's already a little different that he went from military service to the dramatic arts.
Right.
But then it's also strange that he may have gone from making a woman and her child disappear and then fraud in the amount of 10 grand.
I know, because usually people have an MO or they have a particular type of behavior and then it escalates with time.
Right.
Most of the cases we've discussed on this podcast, there's a particular MO or there's a particular...
Kind of a starting point.
Right, a starting point, and then there's an advancement of crime, and it escalates to whatever point it, comes to. But with this, he's a little bit all over the place, and none of it makes any sense to me from an analysis standpoint.
Right. He goes from potentially double homicide to theft.
Theft, yeah.
And the theft is almost what got him if he didn't pay it back.
Right. Well, like Al Capone.
Son of a gun. Taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could there be more suspicious activity from Moldavin? Well, yes, indeed. He was also the prime suspect in another homicide, this one for the murder of Henry Lawrence Baird.
This was a really interesting one, and I really was tempted to dig in even deeper, but then that would have taken us to an entirely different case.
Yeah.
So that's something that might come down the road later.
Yes. Henry Baird was a truck driver, and the young man's girlfriend, Barbara, also went missing. She was last seen with her boyfriend. However, Henry Baird's body was found on a beach not long after the last time the couple was seen. He had been shot in the back of the head and he was found naked, but his clothes were still nearby. Barbara, his girlfriend, her clothes were found neatly folded under the boyfriend's clothes. So it was assumed whoever killed Baird had likely kidnapped Barbara.
Right, which again, interesting. The clothing.
Yes.
Maybe they were on the beach skinny dipping or something.
Having a heck of a time.
But at the same time, it's interesting that his clothes were neatly folded. That's another aspect from, an analysis standpoint that's another oddity to me.
Right.
It was organized, even though it was probably disorganized.
Exactly. I was going to say disorganized organization.
Yes.
Probably randomly selected the victims, but
exactly
had particular care for how
certain
they went about
things. Right. So that's interesting. And again, that might come along later because I thought those two were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Moldovans just thrown in the middle of this randomness.
Right.
Which to me, there are no coincidences. So there's some connection.
Right. He's prime suspect in that one. So again,
right.
Without getting into the weeds on that, we don't know what they had, but he's got a major tie to another either homicide and kidnapping or double homicide.
Yeah.
I mean, all these years later,
right.
I would assume Barbara's
right. And
deceased.
Again, I didn't dig that much because I wanted to focus on Ruth Marie Terry.
Right. And that's exactly what we will do in the final installment, episode 5 of this series, coming to you soon.
Please sign the crime scene log on the way out. Stay safe.
And so long.